Hi, Paige.
Hi, Tamsin.
I am so excited to reflect with you about our last episode. So, our last episode, we had Jamee Pineda, who is a queer, non-binary trans practitioner of Hilot and Chinese medicine based in Baltimore. He's also a podcast host, an amazing podcast called Decolonizing Medicine. And it was such a mind-blowing episode for me.
Yeah, same for me.
It was just like, I was like, oh my God, I have to digest what you just said. And I have to journal about this like in the moment.
I know, right?
I think for me, one of the biggest things that I've been reflecting on that he said was this idea of reclaiming beauty and how certain groups of people, it's not safe to reclaim your beauty.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that hit me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry.
No, yeah. Right. So, but outwardly, right? Like publicly, it's not safe.
Yeah, but I also kind of thought of it internally too. Like I was thinking of like, obviously, right? Like queer folks, non-binary, gender fluid, trans folks, even like people of color are not, they don't have that safety of reclaiming their beauty publicly. But I also saw this as like an internal issue too.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of why I'm interested in this journey, this beauty journey, and like why we're doing this podcast for me personally is because I've survived multiple traumas. I have complex PTSD. And my recent trauma was related to so much about my self-worth, beauty, how I value myself. And it was the first time. Now that I've been thinking about it, I'm like, maybe this was like a thing through every single trauma that I experienced. But when I, decided to like heal from this and work on this, like I didn't quite feel safe reclaiming my beauty because I was in a very toxic, abusive relationship. And so much of that was like how I appeared. And so the idea of reclaiming who I am and my beauty, everything from not just physical appearance, but like my sensuality, my desire, my sexuality, everything. I had to get over this fear of not feeling safe. And I don't know if I feel entirely safe yet.
Because it made you feel like that's what got you into the trouble or the trauma.
Maybe. Yeah. Like I said, like Jamie was like, it was like a therapy session.
I know.
Like,
well, because with what Jamie said, it's more that it wasn't you and your beauty. It was the other person perceiving that as an excuse to like control you. Right.
Yeah.
And like use that to cause the harm and the trauma. But you going through the experience felt like, well, you can tell me how you felt, but it sounds like had you not had that certain appearance or gained a certain access because of your appearance, you might not have been in those situations.
Maybe. I never thought of it that way because it's just like I just got into this like relationship. And so I think he had broken me down and taken so much of who I am that like and it was kind of like what Jamie mentioned, growing up or going to college on the West Coast, and this idea of like, or maybe I said it, maybe he said it, but this idea of like, I feel like sometimes when certain people reclaim their beauty, other people are just like, who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah.
Who the hell do you think you are to come here looking like this, looking this beautiful, looking this strong, fierce, whatever, right? Who the hell do you think you are? And that's what hit me with this idea of taking up space. And I think in this toxic relationship, that was like the theme. Like, who the hell do you think you are? What, like, who do you think? And then I think, in other toxic relationships, that's been the theme. And so taking up space is not just taking up space, it's like telling people like, yeah, no, I'm fierce, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, you know?
Right.
And if you don't, and if that triggers you, or if that angers you, then that's none of my, like, that's not my fault whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge shift in your mind when you're a person who's experienced multiple trauma, I think.
Right. It's a lot of unlearning and rewiring and helping you understand that it wasn't this that turned, like, you have to, the cause and effect thing where you kind of have to like sever what you were like equating to. One is because of this happened. You have to just totally undo that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also reminds me of this, like, I recently had somebody tell me that this other person, this other professional, was very intimidated by my confidence. And you're laughing, your face. And I swear, I don't know what I am going through in my life right now. Because I have my insecurities, but I think as I get older, I am confident, but I wasn't a very confident person before, like I think any kid, right? But lately I've been hearing this from other people too, like you're a little too confident, you're a little too much, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so before but I think I've heard this like throughout my entire life, and then it makes me like gaslight myself and like, am I being like egotistical? Am I a narcissist? But I don't do things that intentionally. Like I just do things to do things. And so
Mm-hmm.
when this person told me that, I think 5-10 years ago, it would have put me back into my shell. But because of these traumas, especially my last toxic relationship,
Mm-hmm.
my response was like, what the hell you want me to do with that? It's like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's a big mark of growth.
Huge, massive for me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because it sounded so absurd. How the hell is that my problem? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What were some of your takeaways from this?
I mean, so many. I do love how Jamie was reframing things for me to help understand, in terms of like what you were just talking about, taking up space, and how
Mhm.
we're just not used to seeing certain groups or certain identities getting like being allowed to have that space or airtime or agency or whatever. So that, like, seeing it through that aperture was really interesting to me. And then
As Asian women too, if you take up space with beauty, it's like, so because of Orientalism, it's
mhm,
like you put yourself out there to be fetishized,
right,
sexualized.
right, yeah.
Mm.
And I mean, I'll have to, I really love this episode. I actually almost got teary thinking
Mm.
of Jamie's process and that courage that it took to make the transition to where he felt like he was like really embodying his identity and how he saw himself, and then having to reconcile losing previous identity and other friendships, and how you're seen. It was a huge, I mean, he sacrificed a lot. So hearing that part, I got really emotional actually.
Mhm. Have you
um
experienced that in your own life? Or was there ever a moment where it's like, to find to be, I think he even said, I felt more aligned with who I am,
mhm,
but the risk of losing your loved ones.
right. I think, I mean, for me, the the most like simple thing that comes to my mind is I grew up with such a like a brother that took up so much space in all senses of the word.
Mm.
He was the firstborn Chinese boy, and everyone hung on every word. And he also is physically large. So everything about him just took up so much space. And my family didn't really know me very well because everything was centered around my brother. And then we're 4 years apart. So when he left the house and I was just there with my parents, they
Like, where'd you
realized
come from?
exactly.
Oh, wow.
A lot of their friends didn't know they had a daughter.
No way. But I think you're like in high school, right?
Yeah, we would run into people after
Huh.
my brother graduated from high school and was away in college. We would run into people and they didn't know that they had a daughter. They like met me for the first time.
Whoa.
Yeah, and my dad's office only had photos of my brother.
Oh man.
Yeah. So anyway, I think for me it was like I was always known for being like quiet and reserved and easygoing and sweet and go with the flow and like reclusive in my room. And then I had to actually shake all of that and be like, no, actually, I'm like bold and I have a huge personality and I'm very confident and I'm take up a lot of space and I'm this, 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 this. And I think it really like shook up my family and my extended family. And they were like, we actually have to listen to this person talk now. We went like,
Now, now she's got a
all
podcast, so you really got to listen to her. There's a microphone in front of her.
exactly. No, exactly. Because I have moments like at family dinners where I'm talking and it feels surreal that that I get to talk.
So when you made this like realization where like, no, actually I'm like this, were you still in high school or was this later on?
I think it was pretty recent. I think it was,
Oh, so
it wasn't
people are just
until,
mind blown.
yeah, it wasn't until I had my son,
Yeah.
again, firstborn Chinese grandson,
Yeah.
that I like kind of raised in ranks. And then I'm like, I'm taking advantage of that and I'm going to be who I am. And people are going to have to listen to me talk. And yeah, it was so that it's been that part of me is what I would feel right now is similar to Jamie's experience.
Was it first uncomfortable for you or was it freeing? Like, this is who I am? Or were you,
No,
yeah.
yeah. I would talk and it would be like I would like leave my this still happens to me at family dinners where I like leave my body and I'm become the observer.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
can't believe that I'm still talking after just 10 seconds. Nobody shut me down and told me to be quiet.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh my God, people are still listening. Like I'm still saying words. I'm still like getting this out of my
Oh,
mouth. It's and I'm like this all the time. And especially with like my aunties and uncles,
mm-hmm.
it's like even more so like this, where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe like I had like I'm saying sentences and they actually like so it's just really interesting. I mean, still most of them don't even know like, what I really do and because they've just never listened or asked or celebrated me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm here to share it
This
and
is
I'm sharing it
incredible.
now. Yeah,
This
it's
takes a lot of
huge.
courage, like you told Jamie, like you really admire their courage. And it's like when hearing your story, this also is so courageous of you, especially
Mhm.
so recently. As an adult,
Yes.
I think it's a lot harder for us to do things like, especially when it's family and like, and you just shared your whole history with your family, like your dad not even having pictures of you in the office.
Hmm.
Wow. Gosh, I
Hmm.
just want to clap, but I know it's going to mess up the sound.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm still not in his office, but my son is. So at least they know where that
Oh man,
boy
I would
came
just
from.
sneak in a picture and I would just hang up there.
So at least they can now people know he has a daughter because he can say, "Oh, it's my daughter's son."
Oh my God. I want to go to Hawaii with you. We're going to break into your dad's office and just put posters of your face all over. That's what a monkey would do.
So
Wow.
yeah, so no, that would be what I would say for that.
So like both your stories, taking up space to me also
Hmm.
sounds very much like being seen. Like you are telling the world, see me. Like,
Hmm.
and that, oh, I'm gonna get emotional on this because it's like people don't see people, and
Hmm.
and when I hear both your stories, it's like you've climbed up all these like staircases and like screaming like, see me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and demanding people see. I feel like more people should do this. If everyone did this and everyone saw each other, then we wouldn't be in this mess that we're in, you know,
Right.
like haters and hating on each other and saying like comments and things about each other that, yeah.
Right. Well, tell me more about you, like, since we've chatted last, and kind of updates about your health and, where you are right now on this beauty journey.
Mm-hmm. Um, wow. It's like, honestly, I feel like every day is something new. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about this at the podcast. I'm going to talk about this. And then every day it's something new. Well, I guess tying also back to what Jamie said was that he mentioned this idea of being beautiful for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've always had a little bit of that. Um, but it's like, like dressing up for yourself, looking cute for yourself. I've always kind of done that, but I think it's always been this physical thing. Like I can put on a nice clothes, I can put on makeup, and I'm trying to really work on being beautiful for myself on the emotional, spiritual level. So even if I'm
Mm-hmm.
like in my sweats, no makeup, nothing, going outside of the grocery store, I still feel beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard because it's a lot easier to put on makeup and cute clothes and feel beautiful. And I think, and I'm not talking down on that, because like I think that is a very powerful medicine in itself. But yeah, just I think trying to do that on a deeper spiritual level, because the last time we talked was with Angie's like episode, and I've been reflecting a lot because you and Angie kind of had similar views on aging.
Yes,
Right. And
right.
what I found was interesting was that both of you related aging to your work.
Right.
And to me, I couldn't grasp that. And I didn't quite know how to verbalize that. So that's the one thing that I've been really reflecting on in the last few weeks, is that when I go to the grocery store, nobody knows I'm a doctor. They just see this Asian face. And
Right.
then when I get older, they won't even see me.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, these titles are like our merits. I'm realizing doesn't mean much, like on how society sees you and how society sees old people. Like when I see old people, I'm not on the street, I'm not like, whoa, they might be a doctor or they might be a teacher.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that scares me, is that
Mm-hmm.
it's this invisibility.
Mm-hmm. Right. But that might be when, we said this at Jamie's episode, like maybe you'll be inspired to have more playfulness or expression of self with clothing or hairstyles or
Yeah. I
makeup
mean,
looks.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
possibly, but I'm also very, very lazy. I'm so lazy, everyone. And so like,
But also a Virgo.
oh
So
yeah,
you have like
it's
a lot of push pull.
I'm a very complex human being. I'm layered with nuances. Yeah. Like yeah, that's my other fear. It's like, man, when I get older, am I gonna be more lazy, or like, because I see older people who just are playful with the way they look and stuff. And I'm just
Right.
like, man, I don't know if I would be like that because I'm so lazy. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I've been reflecting a lot on. And then so it made me think like, okay, so now I know what my fear is. It's this fear of being invisible and not being seen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Probably is rooted like in my childhood. I mean, I was like rambunctious, and like I'm kind of the opposite with your childhood bringing. I could not shut up. Like like I was always the kid, like
Monkey.
yeah, total monkey. Yeah. And my parents, when the last few years when people have been telling me like, who the hell do you think you are? And I tell my parents this, they're just, and then I tell them that I say like, who the hell do you think you are? And they get it. They're like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is
They're
your
like, it
person.
sounds like you.
Yeah. You're used to being the center of attention. You command attention anyway. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't even surprise them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why, because like I'm so used to, I've always been used to telling people, see me,
Right.
that every time I've experienced trauma, that's when I've experienced that nobody sees me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even see myself. And then so with aging, that's my fear. And so I have to work on
Oh,
this.
yeah. I totally see that now, like that loop.
Yeah, even though like I told you, like with the pandemic, I gained the most amount of weight that I've ever gained. I've always
Mm-hmm.
had body weight issues my whole life,
Right.
but this time it was a massive amount. And it was probably the first time since I was a kid, when I was overweight as a kid, that was really hard. But the first time in my adult life when I've gained so much weight, where I would walk outside and nobody would see me.
Mm.
People wouldn't make eye contact with me, and I would be with somebody else and they would just look at that other person
Mm-hmm.
and completely ignore me. And it
Right.
was like, it hurt me so much, because it was like, how can I be this big, massive weight, body weight, taking up physical space, and nobody sees me?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, but how much did you see yourself at that time?
Oh, I didn't want to even look. I didn't even want to look at myself. I mean, like the weight gain was, I felt like it just happened. I mean, obviously it happened gradually, but then I didn't even recognize it until I went to
You
the
did.
doctors. Yeah, until I
Uh-huh.
did. Until I went to the doctors. And then I went to
Mm.
the eye doctor. And then it started affecting my health. And
Mm-hmm.
so that scared the shit out of me, because I'm not married. I don't want to get married. I don't have kids. I don't want kids. So again, it's this aging thing, right? It's like, if
Right.
I'm not healthy, nobody will take care of me when I get older.
Right.
Because I've been paralyzed before. I know what it's like. It's like, at least I had my parents at the time, but they're getting older. They're going to pass
Mm-hmm.
away. Who's going to take care of me? I have to take care of myself. And so
Right. But I
it was,
wonder, yeah. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I wonder how much of you not being seen, well, so was you not seeing yourself, or how much you not seeing yourself played into you not being seen. Because
Yeah.
earlier you're talking about how to present or feel beautiful that doesn't involve nice clothes and makeup, and trying
Mm-hmm.
to work on that internally and then present that outwardly. So I think that was really lacking as well at the same time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious what it would look like if you were, you could have like women that go the other direction. Like, let's say you were 100 pounds heavier and you lost down to what is now like what you're saying is your heaviest weight. You
Mm-hmm.
probably would have been strutting and like super proud and confident, and everyone would have seen that. But because you went the other direction and you'd stop seeing yourself, you kind of closed off. You weren't being seen. I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. The weight gain was mostly just my lifestyle habit. It's like I live in the city. Pre-pandemic, it's like I was traveling. My office is like a mile into the campus, and like I take buses and I was just walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And pandemic, you couldn't walk around. And on top of walking
Right.
around, I worked out too.
Right.
And yeah, I'll have to reflect on that, of like, and of not being seen. But
Mm-hmm.
it really, that weekend was like, and I'm still at it. So it's 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 something that I've realized, like, oh, this is like a lifelong thing for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting too old and I don't want to do this anymore.
You don't want to keep playing the game. Yeah.
I'm so tired. Like, this is it. This is it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I need to truly like love myself and love my body, because I'm not going to spend the next 40 years like talking down to myself.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what this will be like next week, but this is my my goal. What did you like? Yeah, what have you've been reflecting on the last few weeks?
I've been so busy, and that's actually in some ways helped me really think about my values,
Mm,
because I just don't have the time to participate or partake in at all the things because I'm so, so, so busy. But what it's actually made me realize, because I'm in a place right now where I feel like I could break down at any moment. Like I just
Mm,
feel like, okay, I'm nearing my very verge, like my capacity and bandwidth of how much I can handle. And it's made me though recently realize like I have to be honey sweet to myself. Like I have
um,
to be the most loving, caring, spoiling, nurturing person ever to myself. And
mhm.
that's actually really exciting for me because I feel like I've always been very busy, but never to this point where I feel like I could have like a little breakdown. So it's always been a excuse for me to just keep going, keep going, keep going, and like put my needs.
Are you sure you're Virgo? Because we're on the verge of the breakdown every single day.
This is a real one. Of course, of course. No, yeah, of course. Like I bet you people that are really close to me are listening to this and they're like, get like what are you talking about? We get these messages from you like all the effing time. Okay, but this is a real one
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
think like a real one until the next real one. So anyway, so it's just made me be, yeah, I think I've just been busy enough before where I've put myself aside because I wanted to get to the next task. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, if I don't take care of myself, like what you're saying about your health and being not having caregivers, but I'm like, if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to get through this physically and mentally. So I'm scheduling, like today I scheduled a full facial on myself from myself.
Oh, nice. You put that in the calendar.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this.
90-minute appointment.
Yeah.
Um
And so, okay, so as somebody who's like, somebody who works a lot, who
mhm,
is maybe even a workaholic, right?
mhm, right.
Was this idea of like, I need to, I love it. You said honey sweet, like take care of myself. Was this hard for you to book this 90-minute facial for yourself?
Um
Because sometimes, like when I do that, I'm like, oh my god, but there's so many other work to do, or da 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 da.
right, right. So yeah, I think I booked it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. And
And
you didn't
so
cancel. You didn't cancel on yourself.
exactly.
You have to.
It didn't
Did you
happen.
pause
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, but it's tonight. So I booked it so far in advance
Yeah.
that I'm like I have everything lined up so
But you
that
could
it can
easily
happen.
cancel. Some people cancel, right?
Exactly.
But you're not going to.
No, I'm not going to cancel.
Yeah.
I have
That's a
everything set
huge
up.
shift.
Mhm. Yes. So that is, and I feel like when you and I talked about Yangsheng and this
Mm-hmm.
idea of self-care versus what you had said, like self-cultivation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is really the shift I'm trying to make with that wisdom because before I would work my butt off and then take a girls trip or do like
Me
this
too.
really indulgent like spa resort situation and then that would be on repeat. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I can't do that anymore because I can't wait on that anymore. Like I can't wait on like 2 more months until I can get away. I
Yeah.
need to just do the self-cultivation instead of the self-care and make sure that I have my like, appointments with myself
Yeah.
on a regular basis so that I don't have to then jet off to who knows where, Sedona, and just
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah.
The realization that I made is that I was sick for 2 weeks, because like I was just MIA or getting my texts back late. And
Mhm.
the realization I made was I'm in this transition where I'm trying to work for myself, right? And and so I thought like, what is the point of working for myself if I don't enjoy the benefits of working for yourself? Which means like
Yes.
the free time, right? To
Yep.
do whatever, to work on a other schedule than a 9 to 5. And I'm trying to break this like learning of like, oh, I got to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, da 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 da, right? And that's
Mhm.
5 because it's like 9 to 8 or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like, what's the point of working for yourself and working the same system that you would be working if you were working for somebody else, isn't the whole point of working
That's
for
such
yourself?
a good point.
Yeah. So well, your thing reminds me of that. Me taking off 2 weeks when I was laying in bed, like dying. I honestly was so grateful that I'm like, I can't believe I have this privilege that I can do this, just rest
Wow.
for 2 weeks. And I want more of that. Like not even just when I'm sick, but like, just because it's Tuesday and I rather get a facial.
Yeah. That is like, I'm really gonna take that lesson into account.
Especially you, because you're so busy and like but
Mhm.
you're working for yourself. You have been for so many years,
Right.
expanding, right? So it's like
Mhm.
even more of a reason to just take care of yourself. Otherwise, what's the point?
Mhm. No, exactly. This is really helpful. So, well, are there any other things you want to share on this episode?
I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I feel you on like taking time for yourself. Like, my 4-hour bath ritual, which
Sundays.
I did on Sunday. And even that is like glorious. I think this week my bath ritual epiphany was like, yeah, I want more of this. So every
Mhm.
work that I do is gearing up for this, but I'm not going to neglect myself like as I work towards this.
Right.
Yeah. That's hard for us because we're metal, we're Virgo.
Yeah.
We can keep each other accountable.
Mhm. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, man. It would be trouble if I was in Hawaii because every like 3 days I'm like, spa? Like we probably be like not making any money.
I would,
Like,
but I would live for that, Tamsin.
yeah, right. Lunch?
Oh
Sushi?
my God. They're
Self-care?
gonna get those, the auto suggest will be like those words.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, well yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I was just so excited about Jamie. And I'm so excited, like just you know, Jamie was our second guest, and
Mhm.
it was like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. We had some questions, but the way
Right.
that Jamie took it to another level, it was just like,
Mhm.
I did not even think about beauty that way. So
Same. Now
now
we
it's
have
just
all of
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm so grateful. And it felt so nourishing. And I feel in awe of other people that like, of our 2 guests and like the other guests that we're going to have on, but just in awe of humanity that like we've experienced these things and we can share it with
Mhm.
other people.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm so happy I can share it with you.
Yay. All right. Well, that's it. I think next week we're going to have another guest, a new guest. And so
Mhm.
I don't want to share so much, but hope everyone enjoys this and follow us and let us know what you think.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.